Okay, so let's start moving now to the project. Let me get back to here. The first thing that I will need to be doing probably is the cleanup. So let me just do a simple npm install. And ooh, we have something to update. This actually will be, I will handle this, so don't worry about this. It will be already fixed whenever you pull the files that I need. So now the npm run dep. Cool. I should have that one over here. So as I mentioned before, I will remove the nav bar. I will use single page app just to make the call. Everything is just like a title in this corner. And after the title in this corner, you have like a header here with the button. A square with the spinning of the anime and the information. And on the right, another big card with a watch list to be shown. So let's do the cleanup for now. So the first thing that I need to do, let me get to my public. Actually, no, let me go to the index XML. Let's change this from view basic template to anime roulette machine. And the icon that I have here, let's change this to, which one should be good? I don't know, there's something like a casino there probably. Yeah, look at this. Slot machine. Let's use that one. Let me save it. Okay, here. Perfect. Let me go to the source main. We'll keep this as it is. Root. We'll be removing the other page. What else will we be doing here? Views. We don't need the other page. Homepage component. And we need to clean up this. This for now. What else we need to do? We need to remove the nav menu. That means that we need to go to the home view, to the application view. Where is it? Here. Let's remove the nav for now, and let's remove this for now. And I think we can remove the nav menu now. Cool. Let's see how this looks like. Yeah, empty. Let me just do a simple hello there. Okay. I think this is enough. Let's do copy and clean up. And we can push it if we needed to. Okay, now that we did a cleanup, the next element that I'm thinking to use is, let's install VueUse. So get started. We need to install VueUse core pretty much. So let's put that one, copy that, go to the console. Let me remove the, stop the development server, paste that one, npm install VueUse core. Cool. And I can use to npm from dep. And we can verify really quick if this is actually working. So I think we can use the mouse one just to verify. We just import it. Let's import it in the home page. And after we import it, we need to call it X and Y. I don't think we need the source type. And we can do a simple paragraph with X, X, another paragraph with Y, Y. This is just simple VueUse one, just to verify it's actually doing what it's supposed to, right? Yeah, we can see it right there at the bottom. Why at the bottom? I'm not sure about that. Let's put it inside the main. There you go. X and Y doing what it's supposed to. Nice. Okay, so we know that VueUse is being working the way it's supposed to. Let me remove it for now. And let's remove this for now. So we'll continue working up. So the first thing that I'm thinking here is to actually have the title of the app itself, and I'm actually thinking also put some kind of description what we actually do in there. I think will be really beneficial in the project itself. So let me just see something really quick in my application view. Let me remove the flex elements, and we just keep the router view itself, and we just hand render the homepage. On the homepage, what I want to do for now is our main component, our main area, will be something a little bit crazy. I have it in another page, and I will put it through here just to show you how complex this could be. Let me remove the classes. I will put the class right here and save it. And give it this really nice background. I was playing around. Now you can see it through the code, but let me show you what it does. So I'm telling that we use at least the screen height background will be a radial gradient that we use in the circle. And we use the gradient with that particular color. And then we use another gradient with this other particular color with 28% of, and then we do a linear gradient across the board. So it's a really complex element. To be sincere, I don't remember whether I saw it. But what it does is give a gradient top and bottom, so you can see a little clear the darker, but that adds the gradient circle here and this gradient circle over there. So it looks like, I don't know, like we have a couple of spotlights here and there, and even more than abstract. You can do a traditional gradient from one color to another, the way that we were doing before, and that should be fine. Here I want to show you all the cool elements that we can use in randomly through Tailwind. And when we can use the square bracket to use a specific arbitrary values, so we can check even traditional CSS. That's why I wanted to showcase that. Right. After that, we're just saying a padding X and Y, 4 and 8, making the text no white, but really clear gray. And in the smaller sizes, the padding X is a little bit bigger and larger is a little bigger. So we just change the padding from left and right in the X area per se, right? So now this will be the main component, but let's keep it. I know that I have a main component, but I want to have another wrapper. And this wrapper will pretty much get the full blown cards, right? So we will just have another wrapper here. And this wrapper will be a simple class of MX auto. That means margin X, left right will be automatic. That will center left and right. And then telling that we'll have a max width of 7XL. So the biggest size, it will doesn't matter how big the screen is, 7XL will be the max size of the width. On 7XL, we're talking about 8 RAMs, that's like 1280 pixels. So you have like a 4K screen, you just will get that, and you will have left and right empty. I think that should work pretty much. And this will be my main header. So because it's my main header, let's actually do a header. And in this header, we have probably, what I'm thinking here, we have something like project number 4, I believe is the one that we just did. Yeah, because we have the the expense splitter in HTML. Then the second one was in Vue, and the third one was the Vue tree. So yeah, this is project number 4. And then the actual title. I'm Roulette Machine. And here I'm thinking probably a description. It will be something like, I don't know, spin the reel, request a random anime from the API, which is called Jinkan, with view use fetch, and learn how REST APIs signal rate limiting with HTTP 422 29, sorry, right? Yeah, cool. So we have that. Nice. Now let's this actually make it to look better. So I want to add, in general, let's work with this one. Let's make this here. Let's do class. Let's do text small, but let's do the font semi-bold, right? Okay. Now that we do that, we can handle the uppercase. Let's do uppercase there. Nice. Let's do a tracking. Um, let's do normal. Well, it's like we didn't do anything. Oops. Tracking white, wider, widest. Mm, it's not the one that I did. It actually, probably we need to do a random one. Let's do something like, how much would be? Yeah, yeah, something like that. I wanted we like that, and let's make the text a different color. Let's do text cyan probably 300, but let's divide it by 90. Yeah, we have a tracking cyan uppercase. I think that looks cool. Let's make this a little bit better now. So let's go to the H1. Plus, let's do a margin top. Oops. Um, Margin top of 2 to separate it. Perfect. Need to be a lot bigger. So let's do text procel. And this should be anime without the end. Let's do font black. Let's do text white, just to be simple. And in the smaller devices and up, let's do the text bigger. Right? Yeah. Okay. And now roulette machine. Now let's do this one paragraph to have also a margin. We can margin top of 2 with a max height of 3XL. So yeah, it's like a little bit to the left size in this particular case. Okay, let's do the small text with grayish color, slate probably. Yeah, okay. This is good for mobile devices, but let's do from a small and up, let's do a text based. And that start looking a little bit better. Let's just make this instead of 100, let's do like 300. Okay, that I think looks a lot better than what I needed to put. So yeah, I think I like it. What else we can do here? This one didn't work. That's, I have my project number 4 a little bigger font because I put excess different. Now it makes a lot more sense right there. Cool. So we have the header. Let's go there, add it, and let's add it, view, use, and work it on header. Right? Nice. So now let's start working with the container for the on the left will be on the top and bottom the anime one, the spinning, and on the right will be the watch list itself. So what I'm thinking here is after I have the header, cool. Let me just minimize that so it will not see it on the code. But I'm thinking here, let's have another container and let's make this one a grid. Let's add a simple gap of 6 probably. And we'll say that in largest container will be grid call grid calls. We can use 2, but if we use 2, it will be the same size. So what I actually want to make is an arbitrary custom value to have it like the left one a little bit bigger than the right one. So for that, we know that the fractions of grid call of CSS grid are FR. So I can say something like 1.2 FR underscore 0.8 FR. So we're telling that is we separate those with underscore in order to publish, and you can send my grid template. It will be 1.2 and 0.8. That means that the left side will be just a little bit wider than the right side. To see that, let's add 2 different divs inside. Actually, let me remove this. Let's do a div. Let's do background class, background red 100. And let's do another one with a class of background green 500. I don't think it will show. No, let's have some kind of content. X. There you go. So you see now my layout, my left side is bigger than my right side. Here we'll have like a 1 mini card and 2 mini. So this left side will have 2 elements, the right side will have 1. But I think that will be the layout. What I'm seeing now is my header is actually 2 up. So let's add to my header a class of margin bottom, probably of 8. Okay, now I have the separation that I needed. Cool. Let's minimize this. So now that I have my grid template, let's have a really big section that will contain everything. And let's do a simple class of space y. The margin block start of 5, probably. This is what it does. It's just adding the spacing in the y element. And that we'll need to see later. So this will be my section where we have the spinning area. And then the other one will be the section where we have the watch list itself. So for here, what I'm thinking is what I'm thinking is, let me just, I'm still thinking what will be the best way to provide that. Is probably to have, let's do the upper one. It will be a div. So this one will have a class of, I need to be flex column, that means up and down, element with a simple gap of 2, no, 3, 12 pixels. Cool. That will be in a mobile device view. So in bigger devices, I need to actually be a row. So I will do flex row from smaller and up. And of course, because of that, I will do items center. Justify between. That means the space on the between series. I mean, the first element will be tied to the left, the last element will be tied to the right, and will be specially spaced out, uh, not the same spacing between every element. That Justify does for us. Now that I have that, that's actually thinking. Hmm, you know what? I'm working in a different element here. Well, let me finish this part. So what I'm thinking here, it will be my H2. We'll have my roulette. And I have a pin. Let's describe it as pull the lever or click the button. But let's just have fun for your next random anime recommendation. Right? Yeah, roulette, pull the lever. Yeah. And after this div, we have a simple button that for now we'll see spin. Right? And we'll make it look pretty. Now, I want to grab this button and this div for the roulette, actually the whole element, in the actual card. So let's do another div and send that to the last div over here. So I grab it out, and now I can set probably to have a special border, and let's do a slate color, border slate. Let's do 700 probably, divided by 70. Okay, we can see it right there. Let's start looking at. Let's do a background. Background display 900. So we can see it. It's nice. But I think let's do rounded. For Excel, yeah, better. Let's add the padding. In general, padding of 5. That means X and Y at the same time. And let's add the shadow um, to Excel, probably. We can keep it there. Let's make the shadow slate 950, a little darker. And some of the opacity, and let's do a backdrop blur small. So we have some kind of blurry effects. Okay, I start liking it a little bit. Let's make now this text to look a little bit better. So my roulette will be as a class need to be bigger text. Text Excel, font bold, and make sure that it's text wide. Okay. My paragraph with information will be text small with a grayish slate color. 300, the one that we used before, I think is the one. Yeah, roulette there, cool. And now let's make the button work as a button. So let's do right here. Oops. Let's do first this a type button. This is just for the area elements. So we read that this button is actually a button. Right? And let's do a simple class of rounded full with a border. Border, let's use cyan because we use that one on the top. Cyan 300 over 70. Okay. Oh, border across the board, not just the bottom. There you go. Of course, we need to make the background cyan a little darker with some padding of X of 6 and padding of Y of 3. Okay, now start looking like a button a little bit. Let's make this rounded because it didn't work. Okay, rounded. There you go. Let's make this rounded. Let's make it, what else we can add? Let's make this base just to be there, font black, and tracking white. Okay, yeah. Let's work with the text color. Let's do text cyan. Uh-huh. There, like it's almost white, but just looks like the cyan itself. And now let's make the effects when you hover over. So when you hover the button, let's make the background cyan. So we have it 400. Let's make, well, let's do the same 400, but instead of, now let's do 3% here. And, and that will be for now. 19, the all the elements that we need to. And that's it, I think that's it. Yeah, you can see right there that is doing something. And whenever we click it, we can do add click to do something about it and want to spin. And we will define for now const spin equal simple alert. Hello. I think we can do it like that. Equal this should be a function. There you go. Mm, I was thinking that we can just the result. Yeah, hello. Cool. Let's do an extra tab that will be cursor pointer. Let's see, we have a pointer. Yes, cool. That will allow us to change the hand for the spinning. Nice. And we keep as it is. Let's now work with the here. What else we can do here? With the anime card. So for that one, oh, let's just add this spin button layout. Let's commit it. So I'm thinking what we need to do now. Because next will be the anime card itself. Or we actually pull the information in. Interesting. Okay. Let's do on the component side. Let's remove this. Let's keep it as it is. Okay, let's component. Let's add new component. Let's call this anime card.view. And let's do a simple template. Let's close it. And let's make this another section. This section will have, and we have a really similar section as the previous one. So let's do a class like that. Okay. With the same border, slate, background, shadow Excel. We did two Excel. Shadow slate 950 and black blur. Okay. And inside our section, we have, I want to do something here. So here we will be sending the elements or the cards that need to be done. Those elements will be different types. For example, we can send an anime, we can send a loading state. I'm thinking that even if it's an error happen, so it showcase like an error either. And if it's already in watch list, I need to verify that anime is already there. If it's already there, I don't want to handle it. So for that, I will do a simple script setup. And we saw before what the props are, how it actually works. And I have some props already defined, right? So I will say, I will send the anime is an object, default is null. Loading is a boolean, default is false. Error, default is nothing. And a watch list is a boolean, equal false. Default as a false. So that will allow me to think what I need to render in my app. So one of the things that we can use here, for example, if I would want to have separate elements to showcase the different states. So if I do be if, and say loading, if this page is actually loading, I want to show these elements over here, right? And let's put something like loading, for example, right? And we can do another div that will be called say done, that will be else. If loading is set there, and it actually is props.loading. In my props loading is there, I will send loading. If not, I will show done. Done. And that's it. That will allow me to call it in my home page. I can import. Let's change this to console.log so it's not complaining anymore. Right? Let's do import anime card from, and I will import in this exactly from my component side. So it will be add component anime card. And I can use that just after my section here. Remember anime card? It is an actual section, right? So if I do this without sending anything, I should see done there, right? And I want this to be at the bottom. I will move that in a bit. So if I want this to be, oh, yeah, because I put it after a section. If I put it before a section, it should be at the bottom. There you go. Done. If I send my loading, when you just send it like this, it sends as a true by default. We can see this actually loading. If I don't send the loading, it renders the done, right? So that's what I want to handle here. Let's see how we can handle different loading. So let me just send it the loading, and I can send it through here as a true. This actually works too. Or because a boolean, we can just send it without an actual value, just mention it, and that will make it true by default, right? So now that I have that, I can go in and handle my loading state. Cool. So let me just go through here. I have in my loading, and let's see what we can do with that particular loading. So what I was thinking, the first thing, let me do a class. So it will be space y of 4 probably. That means it will not take the whole space itself. And then we can put the different elements inside. Mm, let me think here. So let me just copy this over. Let me paste it right here. And let me tell you what it is. Cool. So we some component, it's a div as flex item center with a simple gap. And put the text cyan 300. That will be this text itself. And then I put another div that is specific width and height with an animate spin, rounded, full, border 2, and border cyan, and border top transparent. So what it's doing here, oops, is as simple as that. We use mimic, loading state. So let me remove the rounded full so you see what it does. It's just a simple square that is rotating, right? But when we added the rounded, we make it a circle, and then we make it, well, remove the top, and that looks like something loading. So when I'm loading, I would like to see this, right? I think it's really neat. And what I'm thinking now, after that, is probably something weirder. Let me show you after those. I will do these pulse animations of 3 squares. So it's showing like it's rendering some kind of value or data itself. Right? In order to make this work, I just did another container gets a simple grid with 3 columns, a simple gap, and we have the same elementary type. We can do a before 1 to 3 and it showcases, but I think it was simple enough just to put it like this with some extra element. And the last one that I want to do is something bigger. I will do the animate to round it with a bigger slate. That will showcase like a bigger content there that is being rendered. So it feels like this is actually being pulled for a reason, right? So it looks like it's just loading the different elements. So that's what I needed. Cool. So I think we have our loading state complete. Let's do our error state. So let me get back here. Let me just push those. Added anime car loading. Let me go to the home page and let me send this as an error. It says done because we are not rendering anything with error. We just saw the BLs, right? If you know done, it's loading, just put it down there. So let's keep the error. And we can keep here, minimize this. We know that this is our BL. Let me see if I can put this in one single line. No, it doesn't allow me. Okay, so this is my loading. Let's do here this one. So here is if else if error. Here I'm just putting a simple div that have rounded, border red, background red, and text red with spin fail. And we send the error string itself, right? So right now, what we need to see here is I send as a Boolean, I need to send as a string. So that means if we go to homepage and we say error equal network error. Spin fail, network error showcase there. If not, we can say whatever, and we can see spin fail for whatever reason. So now we have an element that actually showcases the error in something happened. So that, I like that, right? Um, so the last one that I want to do, so I think we did the error. Let's do the anime card, just that one, and anime card error showcase, error layout. What else we can do? Let me change the VLs to be a little more where we need it. So instead of done, like there's nothing there, you make a pull the lever to request your first random anime. Send them rounded to Excel with a border, background slate, text center. Simple comment. So, oh, we're sending the error. So our base case will be when we don't have anything here. Oops. Pull the line. Cool. So we can do this one to showcase the error if we need it or not. So let's do what we can do here. Let's do the spin to actually do something here. So let's do a simple const loading equal ref false. And we need to import ref from view. So let's do a reactivity here. So whenever we spin it, let's do a simple loading.value will be equal and not loading.value, right? Here we're just making false to true and true to false. So we say something like this, we spin it, and didn't work. Oh, didn't work because we are not sending it. Let me get here, and let's make my loading will be depending on my loading. And because I'm sending as a property, I need to wrap it this with the columns at the beginning because that value will change. So by default it's false. If I spin it, it will be loading, right? If I spin it again, just because how we did it, the loading will be false. So we'll show this particular. Nice. And we can do the same for the error. We can do const error equal reference empty. And we can do, instead of loading, let's do error dot value equal some error here. Let's do simple if error value equal, if error value, we do error dot value equal nothing. If not, else, we can do a simple error dot value something wrong, right? So if the value exists, we just send an empty string. We can do maybe will be error value length because it's a text is bigger than 0. We just reset it to nothing. If not, we just reset it to something. So now we can send here error and it will be equal to my error, right? So by default is nothing, and it will now change the error to something wrong. And if you click it again, it should clear it. There you go. So that will be the handling of the element. So I will stop the video now. The next part that I want to handle will be the actually fetching. And then after the fetching, I will push that values, so that elements to our, and create the anime card actual layout the way it's supposed to be. So far, we're just handling how to send the props programmatically through here, and we just change the spinning. Let me actually push this. Laying with layout in spin, right? And that way we can see different type of element that we should be declaring here, right? So I hope that so far you like it. You have any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.